We are back with Dr. Luba Soldatova, a laryngologist with Cone Health ENT specialist, to talk all about how to keep our vocal cords healthy and what to do if something seems off. So let's start back here. What steps can we do from home to help?
Yeah, so if your hoarseness or voice changes are caused by common cold or allergy exacerbation with nasal congestion, certainly managing those at home is pretty straightforward. Number one thing to consider is making sure you're being gentle on your voice box, you don't strain your voice, and even consider resting your voice for a bit. Hydrating well with warm, non-caffeinated beverages is important. It can also soothe the sore throat you might be having. Doing nasal sprays to reduce the amount of nasal drainage can be helpful as well. But I always tell patients that a lot of times home remedies that are often recommended can be also irritating. So you have to be very careful by not using a lot of acidic lemon juices or teas with lemon, because that can trigger reflux, and definitely watching your diet, making sure you're excluding foods that can trigger reflux.
That was actually going to be my next question. I know you said that water is most important, but a lot of times when people think of soothing, they always think of teas automatically.
Yeah, so I would say teas are great, but stick with herbal teas that do not have any caffeine. A lot of times people also find that cold beverages can be soothing. Unfortunately, sometimes it can also cause some irritation along the vocal cords and in your throat. So doing warm herbal teas is better. And other things to avoid, just making sure that you're not trying to strain your voice by whispering too much. Unfortunately, people don't realize how irritating that could be on the vocal cords. Just doing gentle speaking is much better.
And are there other home remedies that other folks should avoid? I'm thinking maybe like other drinks or even food, something like that.
Yeah, so it primarily boils down to things that can trigger reflux events. When you're trying to recover with raspy voice, you definitely want to make sure you cut down on spicy foods or fatty foods. They can certainly cause a lot more reflux events. Things that can promote more mucus, such as dairy products in some patients, and definitely processed or salty foods that can make that mucus thick and make it really difficult to not clear your throat or cough while you're recovering. And we know that coughing or throat clearing can cause some irritation along the vocal cords as well.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about some red flags. How would I know that I am having trouble with my vocal cords? What would be happening to me?
Yeah, so you will certainly notice some voice changes, and a lot of times it's not associated with cold symptoms. The major red flag is if you've tried all the home remedies we discussed and you still sound pretty raspy, so that will be pretty concerning. Other things to consider would be if you're experiencing any shortness of breath, difficulties with swallowing, significant pain with swallowing, and the big one, of course, is coughing out blood-tinged secretions. That could be suggestive of laryngeal cancer, and we definitely need you to make an appointment to see an ENT specialist at that point.
And jumping off of that, what can an ENT like yourself do to treat vocal cords? What does that look like?
The first step is always a thorough evaluation, and we as a field have one of the tools in our set of tools that helps us visualize vocal cords. We perform an in-office laryngoscopy a lot of the times when patients come in with voice complaints, and that will allow us to see, are there any anatomical problems such as changes to the mucosa of the vocal cords? Are there any lesions or tumors? Any signs of chronic inflammation or mucus in the throat that can impact how you sound, and definitely can help us pinpoint whether we need to start with therapy, medications, or in some instances surgery.
All right, well, great conversation. Thank you so much for being with us today. And if you missed this entire conversation, remember you can find it on WFMY News 2, our website.